this I think is really interesting. So it takes 5 to 8 pounds of chemically sprayed grain for 1 pound of beef. When you ingest this 5 to 8 pounds, you are ingesting more cancer-causing chemicals from your meat than you are from your fruit and your vegetables. So this is why going free-range organic meat, if there's one thing you were to do, like if you haven't been doing organic fruits and vegetables and you're like, well, I'm worried about the cost, then don't worry about the fruits and vegetables, go to the meat. The meat is worse than the vegetables. I'd like you to do both, but understand that this is a bad situation. And when you're buying how many people buy store-bought milk? Just be honest. I buy goat's milk, and I stopped buying goat's milk when I read this. When you buy 1 glass of inorganic store-bought milk, it contains the residue of about 100 different antibiotics. And once in our bodies, these antibiotics ultimately weaken our immune system. So think about when you're, like, so now I've gone to raw milk that you can get at Lenardi's. I recommend that. And think about it, when you're drinking milk, you're not just getting the milk from one cow. You're getting, goes into a whole system, and it gets pushed around, and so you're getting this milk from, I don't know, thousands of cows that have been, if you're not getting organic, they all have had thousands of chemicals in them. So, I mean, that's a Russian roulette to me.
What about Horizon organic?
So again, yeah, it's going to not have the antibiotics, which is great, and you definitely want to do that, but it's also going to be from a variety of cows. Okay. So what I want you to start to think about, a paradigm shift that I want you to have, is that you are not what you eat. You are what you ate. That makes sense? So when you're eating meat, it doesn't matter what you're eating, it matters what they ate. So if you are eating grain-fed beef, you're eating grains. So you can say, I'm grain-free, I like to stay off of grains, and then you may realize that you're eating it in your meat. I have this, and Beth, you might answer this for me at Whole Foods. I asked them if my organic chicken, what they ate. And he said, well, we don't really know. It's definitely got, and it has grains in it. They could not, they said, we don't have a source for non-grain fed chickens.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because they would have to be completely pasture fed.
Yeah.
And nobody's doing that right now.
Right.
Because it's too costly, and it's too costly.
Okay.
Yeah, so anything that's on the pastures, most of them are getting grains at the end of their life at least, or they're being supplemented, they're being allowed to choose, and if they're allowed to choose, they're going to go with the grains because it's sweeter, tastes better to them, just like with us.
Right.
They go for the easy instead of having to graze.
Interesting. So go ahead and go to the next one. What I want you to, with this, what I wanted to, oh wait, stop for 1 second. Stop right there. Actually, you can go back to the other, go to the ideal. Is one of the best things you can eat is grass-fed beef. So I get a lot of patients or friends that tell me, oh, I don't eat beef anymore. Or they say, I don't eat beef, and they're really proud of it. I don't eat beef. That's great. But guess what? Grass-fed beef is one of the greatest things that you could possibly eat. Along with eggs, having multiple eggs every day, I have grass-fed beef probably 3-4 times a week. My blood pressure's normal. My cholesterol's normal. As far as I know, I don't have any cancer. I mean, I have those 10,000 cells that my body's fighting. But other than that, this grass-fed beef is one of the best things you can be eating, and it's the best way to get omega-3s into your diet that I know. So let's talk about healthy fats again. So you want to have a good ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. An ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats is 4 to 1. The typical person gets 20 to 1. Go ahead and do the next one. When you eat grass-fed beef, you're getting the 4 to 1 ratio that you need, and then when you eat grain-fed, you're getting 21 to 1. So just take grain-fed beef out of your diet, and I really recommend that you put grass-fed in. And when I heard that at Whole Foods about the grain in the chicken, it really made me move more over towards the grass-fed beef and doing chicken less and looking at that differently. Total fat in a grain-fed animal is all the way up here to 8 to 9 grams for a 3-ounce serving, and then look, grass-fed is all the way down here. So the total fat of grass-fed is much lower. And go ahead to the next one. And the omega-6s in a grass-fed is much lower. This is a grain-fed. And when I was going through this, I had my husband look through all the slides, and he's been thinking about hunting. Okay, I cannot even imagine hunting. Like, there's no, like, when he told me that, I'm like, what? You're gonna kill an animal? Like, that's horrible. Our people don't do that. Like, and he said, well, but the meat would be so much fresher. And I was like, okay. So he went the health route with me. Well, when we looked at this, he's like, well, forget hunting, because even a wild antelope, deer, or elk are very high in omega-6s. So I'm telling you, grass-fed beef is one of the best things you can possibly put in your body.
What about turkey? Turkey?
Yeah, so turkey's going to have the same thing, right? It's grain-fed. Yeah. So in moderation, in organic. Okay, so what should you eat? What animal products are you going to eat? Okay, hopefully everybody's going to rush out and get a grass-fed burger. Okay. You're going to eat free-range chicken, and we already know you can get it really well at Trader Joe's. Wild-caught. When you're doing things like salmon or fish, you always want to ask if it's wild-caught, because wild-caught salmon is one of the best things you can have. It's very high in omega-3s. So wild-caught means that it wasn't raised in a little pond and fed grains in that little pond. It was in the wild. And that is really high in omega-3s. So salmon, any kind of fresh fish like that is fantastic. And then raw dairy from natural sources. Okay, now my favorite topic. Number 3 is eliminating sugar. Before you change the slide, I was going to do this and I ran out of time. The average American consumes 53 teaspoons of sugar a day. I was going to show you what 53 looked like, and we will have it in the office. I'll have it for this week. But many times I'll do things like a 30-day discipline, where, like I've done, I'll do yoga every day for 30 days, or I'll take this out of my diet every day for 30 days. So one time I tried sugar every day for 30 days. Like no sugar at all, not even in sauces, like nothing. I can't tell you how hard that is. And I am a consciously aware person, but it is very difficult to get that out because it's everywhere. When we went low fat, we went high sugar. That's exactly what happened. Okay, go next. So hopefully nobody's doing soda, but in case you are, soda is one of the highest sources of sugar that you possibly can get. The average American is getting 55 gallons of soda pop a year. And 1/3 of all of that 53 teaspoons, 1/3 of that is coming from soda. So you really need to get away from soda. There's nothing good about it. Okay, go to the next one. I want to show, do I have, Rocio, can you get me a marker, like a whiteboard marker? So I did, about a month ago, I did a class in here called Unstick Your Metabolism. And I wanted to show people why sugar messes with your metabolism. And the one thing that, and we'll do more, thank you, we'll do more on that later on, but the one thing you have to understand is that when you ingest sugar, it causes an insulin spike. And when your insulin goes up, you've got this insulin and sugar kind of coming up at the same time. And you end up doing, sorry for you guys that are over here, you end up doing this thing where you eat sugar and your body secretes insulin. I'll just do an I here. And then it brings the sugar down. So insulin's job is to bring sugar down, to get it through your bloodstream and get it out of your bloodstream. So you're feeling good, you're good, and then your insulin starts to drop, or your sugar starts to drop, and you're right here. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm hungry, I'm craving sugar, I need a coffee, I need something. And what happens is that you eat something sugary again, and it goes up, and your body secretes insulin. But when you're doing 53 tablespoons a day, you're doing this up and down all the time. Okay, when you eat that much sugar, what happens is eventually the cells that are the insulin cells and the sugar cells cannot connect. The receptor sites on the insulin and sugar areas do not connect, and they don't get out of your system, and you end up with too much sugar and you end up with too much insulin. Too much insulin turns to fat. So the only way to stop this is to cut sugar out of your diet. If you're one of the people that want to lose weight right now and you think, oh, I need to cut calories, you don't need to cut calories. You need to add good fat in, and you need to get off sugar. Because every time you ask your body to secrete insulin, you are messing up this ability for the two cells to connect together, and then your body can't function. It's just that extra insulin just goes to fat, it goes to inflammation, and then you're eating less, and you're eating less, and you're like, I'm eating less. Why am I not? I'm still gaining weight. It's because you've messed with this insulin receptor system, and your body literally cannot lose weight. It doesn't matter. The only way you're going to lose weight, if you're one of those people that you've done diet after diet after diet, the only way you're going to lose weight is to take sugar out of your diet. I guarantee it. Do it for 21 days, and you will dramatically see a difference. I personally think if there was one thing that you change today, it would be take sugar out of your diet. So, the other thing is that it creates an acidic environment, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but when you're having an acidic environment, you become a great host for disease. Every single patient that's ever had cancer has had an acidic environment. So you need to get your body on the alkaline side. There's a great, again, I told you guys we talk about cancer. Cancer is, how you fuel cancer is by feeding it sugar. So if you don't want cancer, limit your sugar. If you have cancer right now and you're eating sugar, you're playing Russian roulette. You have to get off of sugar. I was pleased to hear my mom had a friend that was in the hospital who's recovering from breast cancer, and she had a glucose drip. You're going to love this story, Lanny. She had a glucose drip going into her arm, and luckily there was a doctor that was smart enough to come in and get it out of her and said, we can't put that into her, that feeds cancer. So again, this is not my theory. This is the theory of a lot of people. So what else does sugar do? It decreases your immune system. It feeds cancer cells. And cancer cells, check this out, have more receptor sites for sugar than anything else. How cancer thrives in your body is through sugar. Okay, you'll have to just click them all the way down. So why would you want to get sugar out of your diet if you're not convinced yet? It's the primary cause of obesity. It makes your body acidic. It causes inflammation. And I want to go back to inflammation here for a second because I deal with a lot of people with pain. If you're in pain and you're getting adjusted and you're still in pain and you're not feeling any better, then you got to understand that you got to get sugar out. It's got to be on your top priority. It's a high cause of cholesterol. It causes your hormones to go out. It's a fast track to diabetes. It is a known toxin. It leads to heart disease. It's an anti-nutrient. And it promotes cancer. So I get people all the time say, but I can't get off of it. So here's another interesting study. They did with rats. They put cocaine in one corner and they put sugar in the other corner. And they let the rats go and just see what they wanted to eat. And guess what? They preferred the sugar over the cocaine. It's more addictive than cocaine, and they kept going back to the sugar. So it's crazy addictive, and the only way you get it out of you is by just saying, today, I'm done. I'm going to go 2 weeks, no sugar, and guess what? You'll stop craving it.